What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Dungeon Master Experience. In this video, we're diving into the fantastic Dungeon Master Experience articles by Chris Perkins, one of the lead designers of Dungeons & Dragons. We'll explore his invaluable insights and advice to enhance your skills as a Dungeon Master and create unforgettable D&D experiences for your players. Alright, the next article is called My Campaign, the TV series. It was posted on March 10th of 2011. Wednesday night, the party has reached the apex of an episode of the campaign entitled Ninth Salim. The adventure takes place on an island ruled by the pair of purple dragon sisters, Ninth and Salim, hence the name of the island and the episode. But there's more to them than meets the eye. The sisters hold the answer to many secrets, including the whereabouts of the Dragovar Emperor, whose disappearance is one of the biggest mysteries of the campaign. Think of any serialized TV drama of the past decade that features a good-sized cast of characters. If you're stuck, I'll name a few off the top of my head. Lost, Battlestar Galactica, The Sopranos, Deadwood, True Blood, Mad Men. Now think of all the story characteristics those shows have in common with Dungeons & Dragons campaigns you've created or imagined creating. I'd contend that the similarities are astonishing. The truth is, if I hadn't wormed my way into the gaming industry, I'd probably be most happy working as a TV producer. I tend to think of my Dungeons & Dragons campaign as a dramatic TV series for the following reasons. My campaign has an ensemble cast of characters. It has episodic adventures, some of which are built around a larger mythology, while others have a more standalone feel. The episodes link together to form the guts of my campaign narrative, while simultaneously allowing for individual character development and, when it happens, character death. In fact, the only real difference I can ascertain between a D&D campaign and a serialized TV drama is that, unlike a TV show, a D&D campaign isn't likely to be televised. Having said that, I dare someone to prove me wrong. I will pay tribute and homage to anyone who actually manages to turn his or her D&D campaign into a TV series. Okay, we have to stop right there. So this was a prediction made in 2011, and now we have, man, Critical Role has just completely gone nuts here. So it looks like old Chrissy Poo needs to pay homage to Matt Mercer there and the gang. Very prophetic words, very interesting. One of the payoffs for thinking about your campaign as a TV series is that you'll have an easier time remembering what's important, the characters and their ongoing development. That's why the players play in your campaign. It's what makes designing adventures so much fun. It's about the journey of the characters and the bad things and hilarious that happens along the way. Here are 3 tricks to help you get into the mindset of treating your campaign as a TV series. All right, let's see Chris's 3 tricks to treat our campaign as a TV series. Trick number 1, keep a running episode guide. Fans write episode guides for their favorite series all the time. Why? Because it's fun. The episode guide chronicles all of the events that have transpired thus far. As you begin assembling your campaign episode guide, treat each adventure or play session as a separate episode. Give them a number and name and write a short paragraph, no more than 1 paragraph, of what happened. It's okay to leave out specific details of who did what to whom. It's okay to end on a cliffhanger. And it's perfectly okay to take a longer adventure and break it up into smaller episodes. TV series do this all the time. It's called Episode Part 1 and Episode Part 2. Your episode guide can be any format, although wikis are ideal for this sort of thing. Because I run 2 separate campaigns in the same world, I keep separate wikis for my Monday night and Wednesday night games. At the end of each 1-paragraph episode write-up, include a notes section where you can dump miscellaneous information worthy of keeping track of. I often use this space to mention important NPCs by name, record weird occurrences and character actions that have little to do with the plot, and other wacky stuff. In the right-hand column, a sample write-up from my Wednesday night episode guide, modified slightly to make it more comprehensible to those unfamiliar with the details of the Iomandra campaign. Alright, so this is Chris Perkins's episode guide for his campaign D&D session, and it says Episode 149, Caves of the Kraken Cult, Part 1. Campaign date, 10 Lindy's 1475. In the back of an underground warehouse, the heroes discover an illusionary wall concealing a secret network of caves infested with aberrations. The heroes make their way to a cavern occupied by half-mad Kraken cultists guarded by hungry chools. Demos, played by Chris Youngs, insinuates himself among the cultists and lures them into an ambush. The party then confronts the chools and remaining members of the cult. After a pitched battle, the heroes decide to withdraw and recuperate. On their way out, they run afoul into a gang of Horned Alliance thugs led by Suffer, a tiefling with a whale-sized attitude problem. The heroes flee back into the caves. There they find another exit connected to the Stone Rose Brothel in the city's Dwarven district. Once back in the city, they take refuge at the Temple of Bahamut and come face to face with the Horned Alliance's second-in-command, Prismius, who makes them an offer they can't refuse. Notes: Divin, played by Kurt Gould, nearly dies after falling into a watery vortex at the bottom of a deep shaft. Divin calls to Melora for aid, and because he earlier placed some treasure on her altar, Melora answers his call, taking the form of a watery leviathan that lifts him up out of the vortex. So yeah, that's cool, but I might disagree with him here. I think the players should be the ones taking notes, not really the Dungeon Master. Now, of course, every table is different, etc., etc. People do what they want. But I think it's really more the player's responsibility to take notes. But depends what kind of players you have, I guess. Let's go ahead and move on from that one. Let's go to trick number 2. Trick number 2. Think of your campaign in terms of seasons. A season of a campaign might span any number of levels. My players have long-term commitments to my campaign, so I went with 3 seasons, each one spanning a tier: Heroic, Paragon, and Epic. And now for those that don't know, in 4th edition, Heroic is levels 1 to 10, Paragon is levels 11 to 20, and Epic is levels 21 through 30. So in 5th edition terms, I'd be like 1 through 7, 7 through 14, and 14 through 20, something like that. If it works for you, steal the idea. If your game group is less stable, consider making your seasons shorter. At the beginning of each season, I ask each player to give me a list of 3 things he or she would like to see happen during the season. These might be character specific, or might be larger in scale. When my Wednesday group hit Epic tier, I recalled that Rodney Thompson had a couple of memorable things on his list. He wanted his character to transform from one race into another, and he wanted the heroes to participate in at least one full-scale naval battle. Stuff like this is very helpful once we begin using trick number 3. Now what I do in my group is I actually ask the players, whatever you call it, session 0, or like when they're first making their character or first starting the campaign, what I do is I'll ask them, what do you want to do in Dungeons & Dragons? And what's your idea of the most coolest Dungeons & Dragons type game? Some people have different ideas. Some people really want to do the role play with the funny voices. Some people really want to deck out their character and the magic items and make themselves very powerful. Some people want to fight epic monsters. Somebody, man, I really hope we fight a dragon, and like kill an epic monster, that kind of thing. I want to fight a beholder. Or I want to build a giant mansion in the trees. People have different goals of what they want to accomplish. And what he's saying here is thinking about your campaign in terms of seasons. I guess what he means is you can think of like, maybe in this season, we're going to go for this goal here and see if we can make that happen. All right, let's go to trick number 3 to making your campaign more like a TV series. Trick number 3 is imagine where your campaign is going and concoct future episode ideas. Once your episode guide is up to date, start writing 1-sentence descriptions for a bunch of episodes that haven't happened yet. This is what I call campaign projection. It's an opportunity to imagine what might happen in the weeks and months ahead based on where the campaign is headed and likely outcomes and consequences of the character's actions up to this point. TV producers do something similar when they sit down to plot out upcoming seasons of their shows. They identify the stories they want to tell and how best to develop their ensemble cast and pay off audience expectations. For your campaign, think of the ensemble cast as the characters in your game, with the players as your audience. Here are some episode one-liners I wrote for the Wednesday game, many of which were inspired by the actions and ideas of my players. All right, so here's his list of episode one-liner ideas. The Red Shoals of Dakar. Armos episode. The hunt for the Fathom Reaver leads heroes to an elemental domain ruled by greedy pirates and bloodthirsty politics. Aside, this idea was actually inspired by an article that Bruce Cordell wrote for Dungeon, so props to him. Master the Maelstrom, Demos and Vargas episode. The heroes confront their nemesis, the pirate warlord Vantajar, on the high seas. Imp Stinger must die. Demos episode. Sea King Imp Stinger is accused of launching a savage attack on a Dragavar settlement. Effective. Fleet episode. The characters are reunited with their warforged companion, but there's something different about him. Constellation of Madness. A celestial event alters reality, allowing heroes from the Monday campaign to interact with heroes from the Wednesday campaign. That's a very cool idea. I've fleshed out the first 3 one-liners on this list in anticipation of actually running them as adventures. The rest are half-baked ideas that might or might not ever unfold. Some of these represent natural steps forward or sudden twists in the major campaign arcs playing out this season. Others are standalone adventure ideas that will hopefully inject some new villains and some prizes into the campaign. Some of your ideas for future episodes will get knocked off by better ideas. Others will die for reasons beyond your control. For example, a player, around whose character the idea was based, might drop out of the game. A few ideas might perish for logistical reasons. I really like the Constellation of Madness adventure idea. However, mixing and matching players for my 2 campaigns is a scheduling nightmare. Consequently, as cool as this idea sounds, it might not be as feasible as originally conceived. That said, I love the title and will definitely find a way to use that, if nothing else. Don't be afraid to include future episode one-liners in your published campaign wiki. It's okay if the players read them, desirable even. Here's why. It's fun to tease players with stuff that might happen. And just like teasers for a TV show, it excites them to think about the possibilities. It's worth noting that the ideas you flag as character-specific episodes shouldn't really focus on a single character. This should only serve to remind you that certain episodes help to advance specific character arcs. Show me a player who hates it when the spotlight shines on his character, and I'll show you a Tarrasque that can fly. Very interesting advice so far. Putting a different perspective on a D&D game, I guess. Looking at it more like a television series. I don't think I've ever really thought about it like that, but it is food for thought, that's for sure. I don't know how much I agree with plotting out episode ideas into the future, but if they're just kind of out there, half-baked, I think I can go with that. I wouldn't want to, go to the forbidden railroad. You wouldn't want to do that, but I see what he's getting at. Let's see what his lessons learned are. So here we go. Lessons learned. To summarize, imagine your D&D campaign as a TV series, with the heroes as your ensemble cast and the players as your audience. As a producer of this series, it is your job to imagine where the campaign is headed and what journey each character must make toward the inevitable finale. Sometimes your campaign will get canceled prematurely because it loses its audience. There's really nothing you can do about it except start over and maybe target a new audience. And there's some things to keep in mind if you decide to approach your campaign as a serialized TV show. Think of your campaign in terms of episodes and seasons. Create a campaign episode guide, and write one-liners for future episodes to help you imagine where the campaign is headed. Until the next encounter. Alright guys, once again, thanks for watching to the end of the video. Hit the like button if you liked the video. That'll let me know that you liked the video. How else am I going to know? Common sense. Alright, later.